Hello, good evening, and welcome to Become a Better Man. My name is Tunde Disu, and it's a great honor for me to have you on the program today. Let me start by saying Merry Christmas, and I wish you and your family a glorious end of the year celebration and also into the new year. Um, Tonight we're looking at a topic that is related to the season that we're in, something that is very common, something that a lot of people get into, a lot of us we've done it, some of us are already planning to do it. But I just want to use this platform today to talk briefly about New Year resolution. New Year resolution. I know a lot of people make New Year resolutions. I've made it for years and years, and a lot of us get into the habit of making New Year resolution, which is great. It's a great way of looking into the new year or looking into the year that is ending or that just ended as you move into the new one. But you will agree with me that most of the things that are included in our New Year resolutions, they are here today, gone tomorrow. People normally start with good intention, with good determination, with good preparation and wanting to get it done. But by the end of January, maybe February, definitely by March, a lot of New Year resolutions they've already been broken or they've been forgotten, they've been abandoned, and different things. And that could really set your year off on a very bad footing. So I thought it would be good for us to look at it. Look at what is it about New Year resolution? Is it a good thing? Or is it a bad thing? Or is it indifferent? What is it about New Year resolution? Before we go into that, what is resolution? What is resolution? Simply put, a resolution is a firm decision. It is a firm decision to do or not to do something. It is a resolve. It is a decision, a quality decision for that matter, that we make about doing something or not doing something. A resolution is a promise that you make to yourself. It is one thing for somebody to promise you. It's another thing for you to promise yourself something. But you see, because you are the most trusted person that you know, I am the most trusted person that I know. So when I make a promise to myself, and when you make a promise to yourself, it becomes a pledge. You owe yourself that promise to see it through, to complete it, to deliver on it. And so when you make a resolution, when you make a New Year resolution, you are actually owing yourself. You become indebted to yourself. And so the question is, would you deliver on that debt? Would you make that debt good? Would you do everything possible, everything within your power to make sure that you don't fail and you don't fall in the delivery of that promise or that pledge or the resolution that you have made to yourself? So a New Year resolution should not just be seen as something that we do at the beginning of every year, or the beginning of a new season, or the beginning of a new era. In fact, when you look into this practice of New Year resolution, it started as a tradition in the olden days. It started as a tradition in which a person resolves to change an undesired trait or behavior about himself or herself. It's a tradition where a person resolves to accomplish a personal goal or improve an aspect of his or of her life, which is great. There is nothing wrong with that. But you see, the truth is, the challenge is, would you deliver on that? Could you deliver on that? Have you ever delivered on all of your New Year resolutions? Has there been a year that you can look back at and say, in the year so, I made these resolutions, and by the end of that year, every box has been ticked off as completed? Has that ever happened to you? Have you delivered to yourself? Because you remember, like I said, a New Year resolution is a promise that you make to yourself. So the question is, have you delivered on that promise or those promises that you made to yourself? In the olden days, the Babylonians, they made promises to their gods at the beginning of every year. And their main issue, the main crux of their promise is that they will return every object that they borrow to the person they borrow it from. And they will pay the debts that they owe anybody that they owe money to. So that is what the Babylonians, that was the focus of their own New Year resolution. In the medieval era, the knights, they also make New Year resolution. They call it the peacock vow. And simply put, they are saying that throughout that year, they will remain and maintain the medieval knightly system of their religion, of their moral and social code. Christians, what do? At watch night, at the crossover service, we pray and we make promises to God. We ask God for specific things. We promise that this is what this year is going to be, which, as you can see today, has become a common practice where churches and ministries will have the slogan for the year, or the word for the year, or the focal point for the year that we're going into. All of that are a way of making New Year resolution. But the concept of New Year resolution, regardless of the background, the origin, the ultimate point of a New Year resolution is for you to reflect upon yourself, is for you to reflect on the areas of your life where you need personal improvement. And so when we make New Year resolutions, when we start the year with, I'm going to do this, I will do that, I will become this, I'm going to achieve that, those are laudable, they are great ideas. But you see, it goes beyond making promises. Every promise is as good as when it is delivered. Until it is delivered, it is still a debt. And so at the beginning of every year, the popular items that you will see on people's New Year resolutions will be, I'm going to donate to the poor this year. I'm going to become more assertive. I'm going to become more environmentally responsible. I'm going to improve my physical state. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to eat well. I'm going to improve on my finances. I'm going to go back to uni or get a new degree or get a promotion, work towards becoming a better husband, a better father, wife, or whatever. All of that are great because they are all pointing towards an area of your life and my life where we feel there needs to be an improvement, which is great. But you see, like I said at the beginning, how many of your New Year resolutions from the years past can you, hand on heart, say you fulfill, that you delivered, that you paid that debt to yourself because you owe it to yourself? That's a question that you and I must answer. That is an area that we must look at critically, because unless we look back and use our history as a mirror to determine or to give us an insight into where we are, the ability to map the way forward is going to be difficult. In finance, for instance, when you, at the beginning of your financial year, you want to do a budget, you prepare a budget. But you see, irrespective of how great the items on your budgets are, unless you have a frame of reference of what you did last year, what you will have this year will be projections based on nothing. Unfortunately, that's how a lot of people make their New Year resolutions. They look at what do I want next year, and they base their New Year resolutions on that, which is one half of it. But have you considered the journey of the past 12 months to this point? Have you identified areas where you took the wrong turning, you made the wrong decision, you did this well, you accomplished this purpose? Unless you have that turnover of reassessing where you were up to where you are, in order for you to plan your way forward, it is going to be an exercise that is doomed to fail. In fact, in 2007, a study was done of 3,000 people who made New Year resolutions. 3,000 people were selected randomly, and a survey was done of those 3,000 people who made New Year resolutions. 88% of them, that's 2,400 out of the 3,000 people, of those that set New Year resolutions, at the beginning, they failed in delivering on their New Year resolution, despite the fact that 1,560 of them were very confident. They were so confident that they would deliver on their New Year resolution. 52% of them that started, who were confident that they would deliver, failed to deliver. 88%, 2,400 out of the 3,000 people that made New Year resolutions at the beginning of the year, they failed in delivering on their New Year resolution. I'm saying that to say, you're not alone. I am not alone. We are not the odd one out. It's a common theme. It's a common practice for people to make these New Year resolutions and never delivered on them. And this survey the analysis from this survey was drilled down, and it found that the most common reasons why people fail to fulfill their New Year resolutions, it's just amazing. 35% of them, when they were asked why they didn't deliver, why they couldn't deliver on their New Year resolution, 35% of these 3,000 people said they realized that they set themselves unrealistic goals. Unrealistic goals. Just something in the sky. Oh, I should do this, I will be this. But they were not realistic. 33% said they could not keep track of their progress. So somewhere along the line, they become demotivated and they let it go. But it's this last two that is very striking for me. 23% said they forgot all about their New Year resolution before the end of February. By March, there was no resolution left in their new year. Even though those resolutions were made between the end of December and early January, by end of March, 23% said they forgot completely about what their New Year resolutions were. But the last 10% of the people said they realized that they had too many resolutions on their list. What am I saying? It is great. It's a wonderful, it's a laudable idea to make New Year resolutions, to plan into the new year, to plan towards the new year, to think of what you want the new year to be and how you want it to pan out. But the question is this: Why are so many people failing in delivering in their new year on their new year resolutions? Maybe you are one of them, because I know I'm one of them. Maybe you are one of them. And the question is, why? Why do so many people fail to deliver on their new year resolutions? The reason I'm asking that is simply this, which is what really prompted me to want us to look at this topic. And it is this notion that, has this just become a habit, a religious activity, something that we do just to satisfy our own ego, that, where I have a new year resolution too? Because there is no point making these promises to ourselves and not delivering on them. You see, when somebody promises you something and they fail to deliver on it, you call them liars. You are upset about it. You are not happy about it. But when you make a promise to yourself and you fail to deliver on it, whether you know it or not, whether you accept it or not, whether you agree with me or not, it takes something away from you, because you feel that you have been let down by somebody that you trust. Somebody that you trusted enough to believe what they say or what they have promised you, and now they have failed to deliver on that thing. Except that in this case, that person is you. So the question is, why? Why do so many people fail to deliver on their new year resolutions? And if so many people are failing, is it really worth the effort? Is it really worth the activity? Is it really worth the energy to want to have a new year resolution? And that is what we're going to be looking at this week. Remember, this topic, this new year resolution, is what we're going to look at this week and next week. Because I want us to really, really examine it, open it up, and really dissect it and find out whether it's a good idea, whether it's a bad idea, or you're just indifferent about it. And are there alternatives? Is there something else you can do, either to make sure you fulfill them, or something else you can do instead of calling it New Year resolution? But first, let us look at, why do so many people fail in delivering on their New Year resolution? Why? Or rather, maybe I should ask you, just give me a one-line answer, maybe 2 words, a sentence, of why you have failed in delivering on your own previous New Year resolutions. What, looking back now, you see, hindsight is a great thing. They say if we have it, nobody will need a foresight. But looking back now, what would you accredit? What would be the reason for you not being able to deliver on your previous New Year resolutions? So please drop me a line, say, write it, type it, send it, in whichever way. Because remember, this platform is for all of us to become better. And so maybe there are things that you know that I don't know. Definitely there will be things you know that I don't know. Maybe that a lot of people, a lot of us can benefit from, can learn from your experience. So please feel free, drop us a line. Let us see what would be those reasons that you can attribute to your failure in delivering on your New Year resolutions. But while you're doing that, let me quickly highlight some of the things that I have seen, either from personal experience or from my private studies, and from examining other resources, of why a lot of us fail to deliver on our New Year resolution. The first one is, a lot of people become a little overzealous when they are making their New Year resolutions. They overcommit themselves. Oh, yes, I'm going to. Oh, yes, I am. Oh, definitely. This is what we're going to do this year. This is how we're going to do. This is what we're going to be. This is where we're going to be. And those promises, they keep piling up and piling up. Especially when you are in a joyous mood, and the Christmas party is going great, the New Year party is wonderful, friends and family are around, everybody is laughing and having fun and enjoying themselves. It is very, very easy to get carried away by the euphoria of the moment, and you become overzealous, you become overexcited when you are making your New Year resolutions, only to realize that you don't even have what it takes to commit to making them happen. And so what people usually do in that instance is somewhere down the line, maybe like we said, by the end of February, early March, and you ask them, what's going on now with this, your New Year resolution? They say, oh, you see, our office has been very busy lately, and this has been happening, and that's been, and people start coming up with excuses. But the reality is, it is not about the excuses that you are making. It's the fact that you were carried away by the life of the season, that you overcommit yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, it is easier to keep just one resolution for the year, than to have 10 and 15 and 20 that you will not even ever get to by the time the year runs out. So it is easy for you to have just one resolution to say, for the year 2019, this is going to be my focus. This is the one thing. Come December 2019, when you look at my life, when you look at the trajectory of my being throughout this year, this one thing you will see in my life. You can trace it back from January to December in my life. It is easier, it is better, it is more honorable to have one New Year resolution than to have thousands or hundreds or 10 that you can attend to. So the number one reason people don't fulfill or cannot deliver on their New Year resolution is simply because we overcommit ourselves. We're too flamboyant in setting our New Year resolutions, and then we wonder why we can't meet them. And then we turn around and give the excuse of, oh, it's been busy in the office. Oh, I've just changed location. Oh, I've just moved house. Oh, this. And then we make excuses. When the truth is, it's not about those excuses. It's the fact that we overcommit ourselves in the first place. The second reason why a lot of people don't fulfill or cannot deliver on their New Year resolutions is because many people, many people, including myself, we often make the wrong resolutions. We often make the wrong resolutions. Maybe because you heard somebody else talking about their resolution, so you added their verse to your list. Or maybe because you saw what somebody did last year and you added that to your list. Or maybe your focus is even off target of where your life is going, and you now bring in a wrong resolution to what you are going to do during the year. You see, the key to successfully making and setting goals is not to make this decision in a haste. It's not to rush into anything. It's to take your time. Think through, what is that one thing? Think through, what is that area of your life? Consider it carefully. But more than that, be willing to commit, to dedicate your time, your energy, your resources to seeing that resolution come through. Because in the absence of your thoroughness, in the absence of your willingness, in the absence of your commitment and dedication, that resolution is dead on arrival. It is dead on arrival. At the point of making it, it's as good as dead. Be careful where you make your resolutions. A lot of people, while the wine is flowing and the beer is running and everything else is going on, you make promises that are baseless in the midst of having fun. If you are not 100%, if you will not be 100% committed to your goals, to your resolutions, the odds are that you will not be motivated to stick with it, to see it through, especially when the challenges of life will come during the year. You must be committed, spirit, soul, and body, to see it through. You must be in a position, you must encourage yourself by yourself, you must motivate yourself by yourself in order for you to see it through. But you see, it's not enough to have an intention. A lot of people have good intentions, but they lack the motivation and the accountability that is required to see it through. Because usually, we've all lived long enough to know that usually the wind that is blowing in January will not continue in the same speed and in the same direction come June, September, and maybe December of that same year. So what do? Become accountable. Become accountable. Make yourself accountable to somebody that can hold you, not just hold your feet to the fire, as it were, on your resolutions, but somebody that is good enough, that is strong enough, that is brave enough, that is wise enough to also encourage you, to support you, to remind you, not in a judgmental way, but to remind you of the promises that you make to yourself. I know a lot of people, we've all said it, we've read about it, we've heard about it, that, oh, a new habit can be learned in 21 days. Not all of them. Not all of them. Not all of them. So just because you've made a resolution by that you're going to lose weight does not mean by the end of the third week or the second week in January, then your weight loss is accomplished. No, you have to see through. Even if you've lost all the pounds you want to lose by that time, remember this is January. We still have another 11 months to go. So what's going to happen over those 11 months? It is more energy sapping, more concentration demanding for you to maintain the ground that you have gained than it takes for you to gain that ground in the first place. So just because you've lost 5 pounds by the end of January doesn't mean now you can relax. It's going to take you more energy to maintain this your new size 12 or this your new waist 40 or 28 than it's taking you to arrive at that point. So you need somebody around you. You need somebody to support you, to hold you accountable. But more than that, to be a support system for you, to motivate you, to encourage you, to remind you, to hold your hand if it's possible, just so that you can fulfill the promise that you made to yourself. In 2016, another survey was done regarding New Year resolutions, and they found that 55% of the resolutions that people make the 55% of all resolutions is to do with health, and 20% to do with finance. 55% of the resolutions that people make has to do with their health. I want to lose weight, I want to go to the gym, I want to sleep well, I want to eat well, it's to do with health. And 20% to do with finances. But when this survey was drilled down, the participants said two things that they're looking for in order for them to deliver on those promises. Two things that are important to them are enjoyment. Am I going to enjoy the process? And secondly, how important is this process for me and to me? In other words, if the participants were not getting immediate rewards from the activities that are included in their resolutions, then the likelihood of sticking with it for a long period is remote, is small. For instance, we've all heard that if you exercise, you have the tendency to prolong your life and live a healthier life. And so a lot of us will include, again, like the survey said, 55% of the resolutions, they have to do with health issue. But you see, the issue is not about making those promises. The challenge lies with the internal battle that you have to win, the internal struggle that you have to overcome between doing what you want to do and doing what you have to do. That's where the crux of the matter is. Am I doing what I want to do, or am I committed to do what I have to do so that I can become what I want to become? Another reason why people don't fulfill their resolutions, their New Year resolution, is because a lot of people, they use the word should in their New Year resolutions. I should do this. I should become this. I should add this. I should. Now, the challenge with that is the word should in your resolution is a bad idea. And I'll tell you why it is a bad idea. When you use the word should, it is a non-committal word. It is a non-committal word that is often associated with guilt, with shame, with lack of decision or no decision at all. The word should simply implies that whatever you are planning, whatever that word is used to qualify within your resolution, that item is only a possibility, not a reality. When you use the word should in the preparation of your resolution, it's a way of leaving a door ajar somewhere in the corner for yourself so that you can have an excuse somewhere down the line. Rather than using the word should, just be affirmative. Be more affirmative. I will do this. I will do this. I am committed to this. I will do this, rather than I should do this. So when it comes to making resolution, be mindful of some of the words that you're using, because some of them are going to work against you fulfilling that resolution. So keep your focus, be mindful, be vigilant about the words that you use. And again, try not to get yourself worried about your healthy decision. Oh, I said I'm going to lose 5 pounds. Oh, we're now in September and I've gained 15 pounds. Maybe you have. But worrying is not the answer. It's not the solution. Rather, try and frame, try and address, try and handle that situation from a positive perspective. Because naturally, when you meet when an unreasonable goal, when you don't meet a reasonable goal, you feel yourself with feelings of anxiety. You feel there's a sense of low self-worth because you didn't deliver on the promises that you make to yourself. But it might as well be down to just the word should that you have used in the drafting of your resolution. Another reason why people don't fulfill their New Year resolutions is because generally a lot of people set unreasonable goals. Unreasonable goals. And you see, being authentic to your true self is essential for reducing stress, for giving you a headway in fulfilling your promise. Be authentic. Be sincere with yourself. Don't set yourself unreasonable goals, because if you do that, you are already digging your own grave, as it were. New Year resolutions, usually people use absolute statements about what they're going to do. Absolute statement. But you see, the problem with absolute statement is that you are immediately setting yourself up for failure. Because the intention might be there. The willingness might be there. The commitment might even be there. But we don't live in an absolute world. We don't live in an absolute world. And before you know it, because you cannot fulfill that absolute promise that you've made using absolute statement, now you are in muckly because you feel less than who you are. I will go to the gym 5 times a week. Well, have you considered other aspects of your life that may not permit 5 times visit to the gym every week? And when you use absolute statements in framing your resolutions, absolute statement usually comes with a vague and distant goal, like somewhere down the line in the sweet by and by. Nothing is absolute. This world is not lived in a box. So be mindful how you frame your resolution. Be mindful how you word your resolutions. Be mindful how you package your resolutions, because these are some of the reasons why a lot of people fail to deliver on their New Year resolutions. Another reason why people don't deliver on their resolutions that they made at the beginning of the year is because those resolutions were framed from a negativity point of view. Because people tend to focus on things they want to change about themselves and the things they dislike about themselves, rather than looking at how can I improve myself? How can I become better at this area? Your New Year resolution doesn't have to be just in the areas where you are failing and you are not producing and you are not good and you are not this and that. Your New Year resolution doesn't just have to be, I'm too fat, I'm too this, I am too that. It could also be in an area of your life where you're already thriving, where you're already doing great. But you see, there's always a room for improvement. I'm saying New Year resolutions doesn't have to be primarily and totally, completely focused on the negative aspects of your life. Because when you frame your New Year resolutions from a negative point of view, you are eliciting, you are digging up, you are winding up, you are conjuring the negative emotions in yourself, which in most cases, they will demotivate you. In most cases, they will demoralize you, they will handicap you, because your system is seeing it from a negative point of view. That's why, for instance, in some organizations, you don't say, oh, we got a problem. Because when you use the word problem, there is the natural tendency for your creative ability to be shut down. So instead of saying we have problems, you could say there's a challenge here, there's an issue here. But what that says is, when it's a challenge, it means it needs to be resolved. When there's an issue, it means it needs to be dealt with. But when you say there's a problem, everybody is retreating into their caves. For instance, if you, in your New Year resolution, if you say something like, I'm going to stop eating junk food. Now, that's a good resolution to have, that I'm going to stop eating junk food. But you see, the word junk there is a connotation of something negative. And so it is not going to motivate you into doing that. Instead of that, you could say something like, I'm going to be conscious of what I eat this year. I'm going to eat healthier this year. I am going to be mindful of the quantity of food that I eat per time this year. What that is, when you are going to eat, you are immediately reminded of your promises, rather than to be immediately condemned by your promises. I don't know if you can see the difference, because one will remind you and another one will condemn you. The one that will remind you will motivate you, but the one that will condemn you will demotivate you. And that is another reason why people don't deliver on their New Year resolutions, because they are framed from a negative point of view. Thank you, all of you that are joining. Thank you, all of those who are sharing it. Thank you for your comment. Thank you for contributing to the topic tonight. We're talking about New Year resolutions and why people make them but can't deliver on them. Another reason why people cannot deliver or fail to deliver on their New Year resolution is because we are too focused on the outcome rather than on the process. We're too focused on the ultimate goal rather than what it would take to arrive at the final destination. Have you ever traveled or planning to travel to somewhere, and you are so consumed about where you are going, and then you get there and you think, is that it? After all of that, is that it? Because you have failed to enjoy and partake of and allow the process to go through you, to be part of you, for you to experience the process. You are too focused and too consumed with the final destination. And so when it comes to New Year resolutions, when your focus is, oh, I'm going to run the London Marathon next year, and all you can see is the final finishing line of the marathon competition next year, you can picture yourself crossing that final line. There's nothing wrong with that. The only challenge is you become too consumed by that final finishing line that you miss out on the process. You need to start jogging, then you need to get a proper footwear, then you need to get on a special diet, then you need to train in a certain way, then you need to condition your mind in a certain way. But if all you can think of is that finishing line, that's why a lot of people on the day of the activity, they freeze. They freeze on the spot because their focus has been totally been on the final product and not taking into consideration the process, the pathway, the journey itself in order to arrive at the final destination. And so, because you have not taken into consideration what the process is, what the journey will take, how you will prepare yourself, it makes you feel like a failure if suddenly, somewhere down the line, the end result becomes overwhelming. Suddenly you chicken out because I don't think I can do this in 4 hours. I don't think I can compete with these people. They've been training. They've been jogging for the past 5 years. Now look at me. I'm just going to mess things up. And you choke yourself out of delivery on that New Year resolution just because you fail to take into cognizance, to take account of the process. You are too consumed by the end result. Another reason why a lot of people fail or cannot deliver on the promises they make to themselves in the form of a New Year resolution is because they rely too much on outside forces to make that resolution complete. If your New Year resolution is too reliant on outside forces or does not take into consideration the influence of outside forces, that New Year resolution is doomed to fail. For example, if one of your New Year resolutions is to be promoted to the post of assistant manager at work, which is great, well done. And so you'll be doing everything that is expected, everything that is required, everything that is needed for you to earn that promotion, which is great. You are working on your process. You are working the process. You are processing the working. You are giving it step by step and everything. But have you forgotten that it is your manager, it is the director, it is the board of directors that will determine who gets promoted or not, irrespective of how good your contribution this year has been? Have you not also forgotten the fact that it is not just about your company or your department, it's about the whole sector? What if something happens in the system, in the government, change of policies, change of this, change of that, that will not allow you to have that promotion? So it is not just about you doing what is necessary. You also need to factor in the influence, the impact of outside forces that will have a major role to play in your in delivering on your resolution. So what do? The key there is to create what I call side bumpers or self-nudging process that will constantly keep you in check, will remind you that a tree does not make a forest, that will help you along the way when you are almost derailing yourself. They will knock you back onto the track. When you are wandering away, they will push you back to say, stay your lane, stay your course, be focused, be diligent in what you are doing. They will keep you in check along the way, so to avoid you losing focus of where you're going. Another reason why a lot of people cannot and will not deliver on their 2019 New Year resolutions is because what they have is a list of resolutions, and that's all it is. There is no plan, there are no strategies, there is no systems in place on how to deliver on those resolutions. The best resolutions, they are those that actually have a backup plan of action on how to see them through, on how to deliver on them, a measurable, accountable process of knowing where you are part time on the trajectory journey towards your final destination. A lot of people set themselves up for failure because, yes, they have a resolution, yes, they have a list of resolutions, but they know very well that in order for them to deliver, they need a plan, and the plan they don't have. Part of your plan will be to break the goal, to break down this year-long resolution into little chunks. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. One bite at a time. And gradually, you are moving towards your final goal. But you must have a plan of how to do that, of how to see that through. Part of your plan will be to have a way of measuring progress and re-examining things and the decisions that you are making along the line, so that come the end of the year, you can look back at not just having fulfilled the resolution, but the things that you have learned and the things that you have done in the process of delivering on that resolution. It's not about what you become per se. It is who you have to become along the way in order for you to achieve the end result. That is what will last longer with you than the celebration of, look, I have achieved it. Lastly, the reason why a lot of people fail in delivering on their New Year resolutions is because they are looking at it from a wrong perspective. They are looking at it from a wrong perspective. Put your resolution in perspective. Put it in perspective. Just because it is called New Year resolution doesn't mean you have to make that resolution on the 1st of January, for instance. It doesn't mean you must finalize that list on that night or in that morning. Put things in perspective. Consider a time for reflection. Before I put pen on paper, let me think of, how did last year pan out? What did we do last year? What could we have done differently last year? How did we achieve this level of success? What contributed to that? Do a reflection. Do an audit of yourself, of your system, of your process, of your journey before you launch out on your New Year resolutions. Stop dwelling. Stop dwelling on the things you have not accomplished. Focus on what you will accomplish instead. Stop wasting your energy beating yourself up on the errors of your past. Learn from them. Use that knowledge and that experience to make a better decision for your tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, I know I've just rushed through a lot of this. I've just kind of keeping an eye on time, as it were. If you want a list, if you want this note to be sent to you, I'll be happy to send it to you. Just drop me your email, inbox me, and I'll send it to you. Because these are some of the things that hearing it once will not help you. You will need to go over it over and over and over again in order for you to really start to milk it and digest it and take the juice out of it so that it can benefit you as we go through the rest of this year and into the new year. Next week, we're going to be looking at having established some of the reasons why New Year resolutions don't work. Then what? What's the next step? And so that's what we're going to be looking at next week. We're going to be looking at, are there alternative ways of getting and preparing for the new year without the burden of this quote and unquote New Year resolution hanging on your neck? And so we're going to look at, are there alternatives? And if there are, how do I incorporate them into my life, into my being, in order for me to achieve and become all that I am destined to be? Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a wonderful year so far. We've come a long way. Time permitting, next week, which I think is going to be the last program for this year, I'm just going to roll out the topics that we have covered this year, the things that we have talked about, that we've touched on this year, so that you can look back and realize, yes, we may not have become everything we planned to be at the beginning of the year, but look at what we have covered. Look at what we have seen. Look at the topics we've discussed. Look at the areas of your life and my life that we have gained knowledge, we've gained insight, we've improved and become better at. Because again, all those put together will help us in planning towards 2019. I want to also use this opportunity to thank all of you for your commitment, for your dedication, for your belief in this platform, for being part of this platform from the beginning of the year till now. It's been a great journey. I have learned a lot, I have grown a lot, I have seen a lot, I have read a lot. And I want to believe that you too, you have gained a lot, you have learned a lot, you have seen a lot, you've heard a lot, and you are also better for it than you were at the beginning of the year. But you see, it is so far. We still got so far to go. So we're not resting on our laurels. We're not camping here to say, well, we've done it now, let's start singing Kumbaya. No. We're going to use whatever we've learned this year as a platform, as a foundation, as a launching pad into what next year, 2019, will have for us. I'm really excited about next year. There's so many things that we're planning, that we're putting together, that we'll be sharing with you in due course. But next year is going to be an adventure. It's going to be wonderful. We're going to have a blast of a time. If you think this year has been wonderful, wait till you see the agenda for next year. And I can assure you, you'll be glad that you're part of this platform. Tell somebody about it. Invite somebody. Let us share what we're hearing so that others too can partake of what is going on this platform. Especially if you think it has added some values to you as a person and make you a better man and a better woman. So until next week when we meet to continue on this issue of New Year resolutions, This is Tunde Disu once again saying thank you. And remember, we have a purpose. We have a purpose. We have a destination. We have a goal that is set before us. And we will not stop. We will not surrender. We will not cave in. We will not give up. We will not throw in the towel until we have become all that we are meant to be. So that when we arrive at our spacious place, at our wealthy place, at that place, everybody that sees us will have no choice but to say, these are better men and better women. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next week. Until then, Merry Christmas. And remember, Jesus is the reason for the season. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. God bless you.